Hey guys, how's it going? Today I'm going to talk to you guys about macros, calories, stuff like that. So, if you guys are wondering, I know a lot of people say that macros are super important. Macros are like what counts the most when you're cutting weight. They are what dictates if you lose weight or not, if you're gaining weight. They dictate if you are, going over your calories or going under your calories. The thing is that macros, I believe, do have some importance to some level, but they are not sort of, how do you say it, the most important thing when it comes down to losing weight and cutting fat and dropping your body fat percentage. So I know a lot of people say that macros are very important. You should focus on your macros. I don't count calories. I count my macros. I track my macros. Calories aren't important. I'm going to tell you guys that macros, I don't really count macros. I'm not going to lie to you guys. I've been bodybuilding for a number of years now, and I don't see macros as very important. At the end of the day, it's about calories in, calories out. If you are trying to lose weight, get shredded, drop body fat, at the end of the day, it's about how many calories you're taking in and how many calories you're burning. So let's say you are in a 3,000 calorie diet. If you eat 3,500 calories, you're going to be in a 500 calorie surplus, which means that you're going to be gaining a pound of fat per week. That is not what you want to happen. At least, that's not what I want to happen. If you are on a bulk, then go for it by all means. But I'm going to tell you guys that calories are what dictates if you're going to gain weight or lose fat. If that's not really important to you, then you don't have to count your calories. But counting calories is the most effective way to lose weight, to drop your body fat percentage, to drop that body fat, get the fat off your abs, get the fat off your love handles, get the fat off everywhere. So at the end of the day, that's what counts the most. I know a lot of people say that macros are super important. Don't ever skip counting macros. I don't count macros at all. And I've seen no difference in my physique just because I don't count macros. If I'm eating more calories than I consume, I am going to gain weight. And if I eat less calories than I burn, then I'm going to lose weight. So at the end of the day, that is what counts the most. I haven't counted macros, I don't know. I've pretty much never counted macros. I know a lot of the people on YouTube say count your macros, don't count your macros, do this, do that. I'm going to tell you guys that at the end of the day, if you are eating more calories than you burn, you're going to gain weight. If you are eating less calories than you burn, then you're going to lose weight. That's how it works. So I see macros as sort of irrelevant. You guys might have different opinions than me. I know a lot of people say that macros are super important. You should eat, more carbs and protein, or you should cut out fats, or you should eat very minimal amounts of fats, or you should eat super high protein so you can stay satiated on a cut. I don't think that is actually the case. I know a lot of people say that you should eat like a whole bunch of protein just to stay satiated on a cut. I don't know if that's the best way to go around it. A lot of people say that eating carbs, a higher amount of carbs than you eat protein is something that you should do. gonna help your exercise performance. It's gonna help you push harder, faster, longer if you eat higher carbs and protein. I don't think that is something that is very like specific. I know a lot of people say that you should eat higher amounts of carbs. I've tried it before, I think. I can't really remember. Did it help at all? It wasn't very different than when I was eating high protein, like super high protein, low carb. I've tried various diets. This is sort of off track, but I've tried various diets. I've tried super high protein. I've tried high protein, moderate carb, low fat. I've tried moderate carb, moderate high protein, low fat, zero fat. I've tried like a lot of stuff. I've tried high fat diets. I don't really like high fat diets because you barely get any food. But right now, as I said, macros, I don't really count them. Maybe I should be counting them. I'm not sure. I might get more into counting macros. I haven't done that in a while. But as I said, counting macros isn't very productive, at least to me. When I'm trying to cut weight, I just count the calories that I'm consuming. I count how many calories I burn. I weigh myself each day. I track my progress, any visual progress, any sort of weight change on the scale, any sort of weight change on in the mirror, wherever, visually, numbers wise. I track the change. I don't track it like, I don't write it down, but I, keep it in the back of my mind. That's how much I weigh. This is how I look. This is how much fat I have on me. So that's how I go around this whole macro and calorie debate. Macros aren't very important to me at all. They're just not. I don't really pay attention to macros in my day-to-day life. If I'm on a 4,000 calorie diet, then I'm gonna eat 4,000 calories. Excuse me. And that's how much I'm gonna eat. And I'm gonna try not to go over it. If I do go over it, I'll weigh myself the next day. I'll track my weight. So that's how I go around staying in shape, staying shredded, maintaining my physique year round. I have sort of given up, as I said, like many social events, pretty much all social events. I've given up parties, bars, attending, the movie theaters, amusement parks, whatever the case may be. I've stopped going to like a lot of places. And I'm just very dedicated to like my body fat percentage, my physique, the fat loss. Huge part of my life revolves around it. So that's how I go around this whole macro talk. People talk about macros a lot. I don't see any like difference between if I'm tracking macros versus when I'm not tracking macros. At the end of the day, it's about, calories in, calories out. So you can be eating like whatever you want as long as you stay within your caloric range. But it is going to be pretty hard for you to actually like eat junk food and, stay pretty shredded because you're going to have to do hours and hours of cardio. So the macro talk, I'm going to tell you guys that is something that I just sort of, get rid of. It doesn't really cross my mind for me to, track my macros every day, to write it down, even, think of macros. The furthest extent to which I will, track my food is calories and protein. So if I have a meal, I'm gonna see how many calories are in it, and I'm gonna see how many grams of protein are in it. That's the furthest extent that I will, put numbers on my food. Of course, I'll weigh the food to the gram, but I'm not gonna go into depth with macros because they're not really important to me. I've gotten very shredded. I'm maintaining a shredded physique. Just, counting calories, weighing myself on the scale, being very consistent with my routine, not deviating at all, practicing the daily habits that I've developed. So if you guys are wondering, like, should I be tracking macros? I hear a lot of people say that macros are important, that macros are, essential. You should be tracking macros. You should be, like, obsessed with your macro tracking. You should track the macros on your kiwi. You should track the macros on your freaking Oreo. You should track the macros on your chicken. It's not that important to me. As I said, the calories of the meal and the amount of protein the meal contains is much more important. But that is when we're talking about, a moderate diet. Like when we're doing moderate amounts of cardio and we're not, doing hours and hours of cardio and we're able to eat whatever we want. We're not talking about that, range. We're talking about sort of the middle ground where if you've been into fitness for a while, if you've been exercising for a while, if you've been dieting for a while, if you can sort of know the ins and outs of fitness. I'm talking about someone who has been doing, like good amounts of cardio, and they have a good level of fitness. I'm gonna tell you guys that macros are really important. Let's say you burn like 2,000 calories, 1,500. Let's say you're around that range. By that time, you've been doing cardio for a good amount of time, I suppose, and you're able to burn a good amount of calories per session. If you're not a complete beginner or if you're not doing hours and hours of cardio, I'm gonna tell you guys that the calories of the meal and the protein of the meal is what I tend to focus on. A lot of people say that macros are, essential. You should be tracking them. I don't know. I don't really track my macros. So yeah, that's sort of the gist of the video. And if you guys are wondering, like, is there any special day where I track my macros? There's really no special day where I track my macros. I don't really obsess over my macros. I do obsess over the scale, the food scale. I obsess over the weighing scale. I obsess over, how many grams I'm eating. I obsess over how many calories I'm eating. I obsess over how much I weigh. I obsess over my routine, my dieting, my exercise. I obsess over that. I don't really obsess over the macros. Because it's not that important to me at the end of the day. So, as I said, that was my thoughts on macros. So yeah, I don't do anything special with my macros. I don't even think really about macros. I just weigh my food, track my calories, eat the food. That's about it. But I'm not at, this sort of range from doing hours and hours of cardio, as I said. So, I am not, like, extremely active. I mean, I do, like, hours of cardio, but I wouldn't consider myself, like, extremely active. Maybe my perception is just skewed. Excuse me. But I don't really, I don't think I do hours and hours. I mean, I don't think I do obsessive amounts of cardio. I'm always trying to improve my cardio. That's a bit about me. But yeah, that was the talk about macros. They're just not like important to me. The macros aren't very important to me, so I don't really track my macros. Like, I know how much protein is in my meal, but I'm not too worried about how many carbs are in my meal, or how much fat is in my meal. I know that my diet is pretty low fat. That's because I want more food per serving, per meal. So if you guys didn't know, fat is very high calorie. It's a little more than double the amount of calories and carbs and protein per serving. I think fat has like 9 calories per gram. Carbs and protein has 4. So if you're gonna eat fats, you're gonna get much less food per gram. So you can eat like a handful of walnuts, or you can eat like, a pretty good size of strawberries. So as you can see, there are levels to the the macro talk and stuff. Yeah, do you want to grab the small bunch of nuts, or do you want to grab the strawberries? That's going to fill you up much more. So there are different ways to go around talking about macros, and just being very finicky about your food. But that is sort of the talk about macros. Yeah, I just try to make sure that my meals are at least like 50 plus grams of protein per serving. That's mostly the most important part for me. I want each meal to have 50, at least like 40, 45 grams of protein per meal. That's really all that matters to me at the end of the day. The protein, the calories. I don't want my meal to be like 20 grams of protein and like 1,000 calories, or like 30 grams of protein and like 800 calories. Not very convenient for me. If I am caught without food, I'll usually grab something like egg bites, egg whites, chicken, vegetables, yogurt, berries, fruit. But that's on the very rare occasion that I don't have any food on me. I will grab something very basic and bland, as I said, like berries, banana, yogurt, chicken, vegetables, egg whites, stuff like that. So, as I said, the macros aren't very important to me. The only macro I really care about really is protein and calories. So, if you guys like the video, give it a thumbs up. Subscribe to my YouTube channel. And if you guys are interested in losing weight and getting into shape, you guys can follow my Instagram page. My Instagram page is luis.hern, the number 9. Again, it's luis.hern, the number 9. You can follow my... You can follow my Instagram page. You can send me a direct message. I have a website up. Just launched it. My page is mostly bodybuilding, fat loss, weight loss, healthy eating, dieting, making exercise and dieting fun and sustainable long term for you guys. That's pretty much what my page is about. Check out my website. I might post on my page from time to time physique updates, what I'm eating, challenges. I post on my stories what I'm eating throughout the day. I'll keep you guys updated. And check out my previous videos to figure out how I'm making this sustainable. Why I'm able to sustain this change. And why I still love exercising and dieting and losing weight and staying in shape. I've found a way to make it enjoyable. I've developed a progression system to keep myself entertained and to keep myself challenged and striving for growth. So that's the video for you guys. Check out my previous videos to figure out how I lost the weight, the methods that I'm using, and give this video a thumbs up, subscribe. I'll see you guys next time.